Hey everyone, I'm Charting Man Dan with the Chart Guys. I've been trading for the last 13 years, 3 months, 2 weeks, 4 days, and 13 hours. In this video, we're going to check in on the broader market. The NASDAQ has a clear tightening range that's going to be key into February. And we're going to check in on some of the other sectors like cannabis, uranium, etc. Let's go. So SPY and QQQ are doing very similar things on the daily time frame. The difference is SPY broke to a higher high with zero follow through, but you mark out this range here and you can see we're pretty much doing nothing the last month, and we're right in the middle of that range. And bulls will gladly take that. Considering the run up that we've seen, sideways consolidation is a bull's best friend. And when we see whether it's a straight move up or a straight move down, when you're not establishing support and resistance as it's forming, you oftentimes can retrace significantly. And we're not seeing that at this point. I mean, let's just look at retracement size here and make note that we could drop to 451. We could drop another 5% from here and still be a possible bull flag considering the size of the move up that we had to end last year. So bigger picture, the bulls don't have anything to worry about right now. But what we care about in the short term is what direction are we going to break this sideways range? And the NASDAQ, you can see it's a little bit more clear as far as a high, low, lower high, and bulls are trying to shape up a higher low with today's trading action. We'll see what tomorrow brings. But again, same deal. The weekly chart is extremely strong still, and sideways consolidation is a bull's best friend after that move up. Semiconductors have been getting a lot of the attention with NVDA breaking out, and we have SMH. I mean, you could make the argument this is a cup and handle type of pattern where we failed resistance. We broke it by 11 pennies. We'll call that a double top and now a bull flag attempt. But overall, really, it's just NVDA and AMD keeping my attention right now. NVDA had, of course, the breakout above 505. As soon as we break 505, the bulls did not look back. 10% higher very quickly. And I actually shorted NVDA on the morning today and had a really nice drop there and covered once the bulls confirmed the 5-minute uptrend. But overall, didn't even get to hourly oversold. We came fairly close, but we were 30-minute, 15-minute, 5-minute all oversold, leading to that bounce. Keeping an eye out for first hourly oversold conditions, but at this point, still very strong overall. And AMD getting a lot of attention. It was a cup and handle. Failure to break resistance, bull flag holding EMA 12, and then the breakout, and its all-time high is in play, 164.46, potentially in this week. And ARM, tightening daily range, trying to set the higher low. Personally still in a swing runner from back here and just going to walk up stops if we set that higher low. But whenever you have a leader like NVDA running, you look to the other names and you look for them to get their turn as the profits rotate around within the sector. And so keeping an eye out because, NVDA will eventually tell us, okay, top's in for now, and we'll clearly be shaping up weekly consolidation. But until that happens, look for semiconductors to continue to see strength. Here's SMCI, first hourly oversold today. Nice bounce, trying for the daily higher low. And MU, also real tight. So keep an eye on ARM and MU. The names are tightening to see if, once NVDA and AMD are done their turn, if we then see the tightening ranges break bull. Healthcare, testing daily EMA 12. We've essentially been holding that for months. And the weekly stair step is still intact at this point, but watching for that to break. It's been intact for 3 months now. Tons of space for the weekly higher low once it breaks, but XLF already broke it. You can see XLF had daily EMA 12 forever. We lost it. It's earnings season, and the financial sector is reporting to end last week and now this week. That's the other thing. The NASDAQ might break this daily equilibrium, just tighten up until earnings. And then once we get the major names having earnings over the next couple of weeks, that could lead to the clear break one way or the other. But XLF, weekly consolidation underway. Again, use your retracement sizes. Watch your EMA 12. This is extremely healthy and expected at this point. We know XLV is going to see weekly consolidation sooner rather than later as well. The names that are leading the way to the downside in this consolidation are the growth names. IWM, daily bear flag confirming, and we're quickly pulling back to weekly EMA 12. So again, just look at the retracement size here, and it's a very distinct difference. We're already at 382, whereas the NASDAQ or SPY, they both need like 5% further to get there. So this is creating space possibly for weekly lower highs. We'll see. It depends on when the weekly high or low is set, but that's something we will have to be keeping an eye on, just considering, we can go up 5% and just set a weekly lower high. But other names like ARKK leading the way down as well. Again, just a weak bear flag bounce into continuation. Stopped out of some long runners there in this name as well. Same thing, we can bounce 10%. We can bounce 15% and form a weekly lower high now. Cannabis getting a lot of attention, doing some specific live streams and videos on the sector. But in the meantime, looking for daily consolidation to potentially shape up. We're on the verge. If we break 831, then daily consolidation is underway. We'll look for hourly oversold conditions, and we'll look for a daily higher low if we get that bear break. There's a gap to fill at 822. So just hitting a temporary euphoria top yesterday with high volume disappearing significantly today. And to have, the highest volume day in a couple of months or a month, and then the lowest volume day in a couple of weeks after it, it's not very common, but it was a daily inside bar, so makes a bit of sense. Overall, no red flags, but again, if we don't get news, I am open to the possibility that we fail 988 and just tighten up for a while. A lot will depend on the broader market. Definitely some impact from the broader market today and how it was trading, but again, right now I only have my longer term swing mindset position. Took some profit yesterday in my shorter term positions, and we'll see if we get that daily consolidation tomorrow. Uranium. So here's an example of why back burners are my favorite trades, because we had weekly consolidation and I missed this move. It came out of nowhere where, we consolidate for weeks and then 4 days later we're at higher highs breaking out. I missed it. So what do I do if I miss it? I put the trade on the back burner and I wait for it. What's the trade? First hourly oversold conditions to scout a daily high or low. All right, we get there this morning, flush down, hourly oversold. I make my entry, chops around on the 15-minute. I exit half over 48. My entry is 47.40. I exit half around 48. What's my break even? 46.80. So that means I now have a swing position where my stop goes under the low of today. If that's the daily high or low, I nailed it. If it's not, I stop out, break even. And so that is my style of trading. And oftentimes in really strong markets, that does mark the daily high or low into continuation. But we'll see how this one plays out because it was a pretty deep pullback over the last 2 days. URNJ is the other name. Look at the weekly time frame for URNJ. Blue sky breakout, ETF. It's definitely less liquid, thinly traded, but I just love how it keeps holding weekly EMA 12. Just got really tight here, build up the pressure for 2 months, and then explode higher to all-time highs. So uranium, definitely still on watch, cannabis on watch, and crypto miners. Between these three sectors, really it's just CCJ, a little bit of NVDA as well, but CCJ, MSOS, and MARA. I don't have to look for day trades every day. I just need to look at these names and say, do I want to look bullish or bearish? Do I like the setup? But I know what I'm going to be trading. It's one of those 3 names, 4 names with NVDA. So speaking of MARA, the top has been set. That is very apparent at this point. Now it's just a question of when does the daily bounce get going? Bitcoin is trying to shape up a daily bear flag. We'll see how that ends up going. I tried to play a bounce on MARA today and ended up green, but insignificant trade because the bounce never got going. So hourly EMA 12 has been rejecting the price for days. We've got to get over that. And I'm watching again tomorrow because I'm going to be looking for, when the daily bounce gets going, it'll be a 15% bounce fairly easily. Even more than that, 20%. 20% bounce. A 20% bounce would be a weak bear flag. So I'm keeping an eye out for the daily bounce. Just being really patient and protective. The dollar. So the dollar's been bouncing for weeks. And that's definitely part of the reason that the broader market is trading sideways for a few weeks. And it's definitely the reason that metals have been a lot of been feeling a lot of pressure and have been weak. The dollar, the monthly higher low is the most likely scenario, and it's trying to shape up. The weekly is a potential inverse head and shoulders. So if this inverse head and shoulders were to shape up, that would potentially set the monthly higher low. But how this dollar tightening range breaks is going to be key for 2024. Because again, it's either going to be a 3-month downtrend confirming, or we're heading back up to the recent highs. And so the metals, gold back down testing, actually already broke the lows. So I'm watching the weekly because it's a nice tightening range, but gold bulls must hold 1973 for a weekly higher low to try and form. Silver is weaker. Silver is at weekly support right now. As we speak, it's being tested. And the miners have just fallen off a cliff the last few days, clearly leading the way down, weaker than the metals. And so gold's got to set a weekly higher low here real soon, and we'll see if that coincides with a dollar temporary top. Oil, weekly time frame tightening up. As I've been mentioning, I'm bearish the energy sector as long as oil has weekly EMA 12 resistance, and it's just a really tight range right now. But I've been liking the relative weakness in the energy sector compared to oil. If you look at it, you can see XLE, daily bear flag confirmed, a lot of follow through. I do have a small swing short position in XLE. ERY is a 2 times leverage bear. But now we're testing the 6-month low. We broke the 6-month low. And so again, if oil were this weak, right now oil would be trading at 68. So I like that, but obviously oil has to break bear if the energy sector bears are going to continue following through. And the reason I'm bearish energy is I'm looking for the 4-month stair step to, hey, there it is. God, I've been talking about that forever. Finally broke bear. The reason I was looking for that is because every other sector in 2021 was doing this, and every other sector broke its stair step except for XLE. Now it has joined, and I was looking for the monthly rising wedge to be the pattern that shaped up that stair step bear break. And in the long-term patterns video live stream that I did maybe a month ago, talked about how I would like to see a quick lower high. I mean, it's going exactly as I want to see it. The one thing missing is oil heading down to recent lows. Because again, if oil holds this longer-term monthly tightening range, then it's going to take a while for the energy sector bears to see any follow-through. Natural gas failed resistance and then pulled back a bit more significantly. The next step for the bulls from here is confirm a weekly uptrend. So we haven't started weekly consolidation yet, but once we do, got to confirm that uptrend. And we could just put a downtrend resistance line here, keep an eye on that. But a nice weekly bounce off the lows, creating the space, now prove it with an eventual trend change to the bulls. All right, hope you're well. Again, just keeping it simple for me, trading those volatile names. Chinese stocks continue to dump. I have no interest there. We're in a downtrend on every single time frame on a lot of those names. Yes, I know sentiment is crushed and it can't get any worse. Yes, it can get worse. But my mindset is prove something. Remember TLT? Everybody's looking long TLT. I did not go long until we confirmed the first daily uptrend in 3.5 months, and we then did nothing but go up for months. And so if I'm looking at Chinese names, what do I need to see? I need to identify something that has not happened. When's Baba? Okay, Baba's been setting weekly lower highs every single bounce for the last 4 to 5 months. So I can say, all right, if something's going to change, we got to break the weekly lower highs. If you don't break the weekly lower highs, nothing's going to change. So being real patient and picky in the Chinese names. I made one attempt at one point, I forget where exactly, but stopped out because the trade was not working. All right, do good things, and we'll see you soon. It's code. You code?